Can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me?
Say hello and welcome, good people of the internet. It is the Holy Hour podcast, the all-cure bi-weekly podcast, the final season finale episode
And the last episode ever.
of 2018.
This is it. This is it.
No, we still got to do the last two albums. Come on.
Yeah, self-titled 413. You're not getting out of it, Donald.
Damn it.
Not letting you off easy, man. But not
I
what
don't
we're
even know what
addressing.
records you're talking about.
Well, you've got a whole month to learn, so don't worry.
Shit.
With modern technology, you can find these things really fast. But hello out there, and welcome to the show. I'm Gavin, and I'm joined by the two awesomest podcasting duo in the world. We got Donald and Chaz. How, guys?
Yo.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hey. And yeah, thanks so much for joining us, Chaz. We figured we couldn't wrap up this year without having Chaz on. This has been the year of
Oh, thank
Chaz on the Holy Hour.
The year of Chaz.
So
It's my favorite year.
Yeah, so that's pretty much our goal, was to get through disintegration, through blood flowers, and have more Chaz. That was pretty much our finale wrap up from 2017, I believe. So we did it, man.
Yeah.
So thanks for sticking in there with us. And
It's been fun.
Fuck yeah, Chaz.
It's been fun.
so yeah, technically
It's been awesome.
3 years wrapped up, 3.5 if you count the first kind of dry run we did. 3.5 years this shit's been going. We started in the summer of 2015, and this year covered episodes 70 to 95. This will be 96, I believe.
That's
26
fucking crazy.
episodes, or this will be 95. Yeah, it's pretty weird. Definitely some of the episodes were a little shorter. Some of them were a little longer. So I think it all balances out. But yeah, but before we dive into the year in review, and in this year in review, we're going to talk about what the Cure did in 2018, what we hope they're going to do in 2019, and we're going to do a little bit of self-glorification and talk about what we did and didn't do in 2018 and what we hope to do in 2019. So, a pretty casual
Sounds
episode.
terrible.
So before everybody tunes out, we do have a very big announcement. We
I'm
wanted
about to tune out.
Fast forward.
so we wanted to allow this top spot here for our buddy Chaz, founder of 17 Second Shirts, to give us a little foreshadowing on your 2019 plans. What do you got in store?
So 2019 is going to be the 30th anniversary of Disintegration, and the band the band or Robert kind of promised that they would do something for it, but as far as we know, nothing's going to happen. So
Yeah.
unless there's a surprise. But I decided that I'm going to take the t-shirts and other stuff that I've planned in the direction of Disintegration. I have some stuff planned for some shirts, of course. I want to do some long sleeves, a tote bag,
Yes.
do a tote bag, a slip mat, some patches, at least 2 hoodies, some button sets. I'm going to try to work on a print, and
Hell yeah.
possibly a Christmas sweater if I can figure out how to get it done. So,
Nice.
You have a factory full of grandmas like making gear sweaters.
yeah, they're already starting already this year for
Yeah,
next
they
year.
start now. They'll have it
Yeah.
ready. But there'll be like 3 of them available by.
Chaz has a sweatshop for the new year. I like your enterprise.
Oh, thank you.
That's it.
I keep the
Awesome,
costs
yeah.
low.
So
Fuck yeah, long sleeves, man. I
Yeah,
like this.
yeah. I haven't
Yeah,
done a long
cover-
sleeve yet, and I'm
yeah.
pretty stoked about it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's
yeah.
awesome. And
thank you.
are you gonna kind of try to just gradually put them out? Then do you have any?
yeah, I'm
like,
gonna try to
official-
do one thing a month.
Mhm.
Maybe overlap with some smaller things like button sets or stuff like that. But
Yeah.
as far as I want to go right now, for the 4 shirts are going to be like the singles and possibly like 2 different disintegration shirts. So,
Cool.
so we'll see where it goes. A lot of it now is like I'm not with the same printer, so I've kind of had to do stuff on my own now, which is good because I'm like the last couple of shirts that have been up for pre-order I've put together myself, which has been different, and I'm sitting down at the computer just about every day and trying to learn how to do this stuff because I never had any training on it or anything. So I made a whole line of disintegration shirts and I threw them all away just because I wasn't. I was just like I can do better than this. Like, or that I don't know if they're gonna sell, and I don't know if people would like them. So it's been interesting just for planning over the last month. So, but I'm pretty excited about it. I know I've been sharing a lot of stuff with Gavin of stuff that I was working on and have kind of kicked to the curb, but. Yeah, so it should be pretty interesting, and I'm hoping that people like it, and, I'm seeing certain stuff sells and certain stuff doesn't, so, yeah, we'll see where we go from here, and I'll be releasing probably each design around the 1st of the month.
Cool.
And have it up for pre-order for 2 weeks, and then we'll go from there, so.
Cool. Instagram's still, like, the best way to keep track?
Yeah,
keep tabs, you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right on. So, 17_seconds is your Instagram, if people haven't caught on yet, right?
Yeah.
And I'm at 17 seconds without an underscore.
Yeah,
so you could check out my fucking cheaper buttons and cheaper tote bags and better shirts. Fucking long sleeve.
Trying to undercut him,
with
man.
proper font. So check that out too.
This guy's been undercutting me at every turn.
Yeah, it's just impossible.
What were you talking about, Chaz? Like, what was your website?
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I've enjoyed buying your shirts throughout the year, man. It's doubled my wardrobe. I'm finally excited about getting dressed again. It's been years since I've not just cried every morning when I have to get dressed. I'm excited now. You've brought new life to my wardrobe.
Well, I thank you guys.
Again, thanks for partaking. I was like initially bummed because I was so happy to have you on these album episode ones. I was like, man, I wish we could have had him on the earlier ones too. But it is kind of funny where you came in because it gets so split there with Donald hating everything, and then I'm kind of like overly biased, loving everything still, And I'm like, well, Chaz is great. He cuts the difference, He's like got the love, but practical enough to still speak his mind and say when something's shitty or not.
Yeah.
So I think it works good. You cut the difference.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it, and it's been fun, and I look forward to every time I get to be on, and I appreciate you guys taking my text messages all times of the night and the day with my stupid pictures and comments and everything. And Donald finally figured out how to do a group chat.
Yeah, he's learning so much this year. It's like 3-way phone calls.
That's one of my that's probably one of your thankful moments for the New Year's. Me figuring out how to make a 3-way text thing on my phone work.
Or send a gift.
It was a game changer. It literally was. Like, this podcast would not have happened if.
He's using emojis and everything. He's really good.
All I know is the eggplant one and the water shoot one. And those are the only emojis I know.
Those are the only 2 you need.
Yeah, it's cover it all. Awesome. Well, maybe before we dive into all that, we should start with serious Cure business on the top and get you guys' opinions on what the Cure did deliver and what they didn't quite deliver this year. So we figured we'd keep it associated to the actual band. Technically, as far as the real actual band that this show's about, it was a pretty big year for them. 40th anniversary show and the Meltdown Curation were the 2 huge milestone kind of shows that happened. None of us were there, of course, but we were able to cover most of it. But unfortunately, didn't really dwell on it too much because we didn't want to be like, man, that would have been awesome. Kind of like a whole episode of that would have been kind of silly, But I think everybody that cares was able to piece together set list and video clips from YouTube and stuff.
Didn't somebody take all the videos that people took and spliced them all together and make a whole set? I think I saw that somewhere.
Yeah, I saw the Meltdown one.
Which is pretty cool.
That was something like that. Yeah, they did that one for one of the 2016 ones for sure. And then I think I saw like a Meltdown one that was just like a camera on a balcony kind of deal where it wasn't great, but it sounded pretty cool. You were able to watch the whole thing. And so pretty cool.
Was that
set
this
list.
year?
Yeah.
Meltdown was June 24th. And that was the one where they did 2 sets that went from then to now, where they played one song from every album, from the first all the way up to the new songs, and then they went backwards for the second set, now to then.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah, that's kind of
I
cool.
want
I
to
like
shit
that
on
idea.
it, but I want to shit on it, but it sounds kind of fun.
Nah,
you
yeah,
get to
it's
hear like
fucking cool.
tons of crap.
And they were like all semi-deep cuts from like kind of in the vein of Torn Down, where they were like fan favorites, but not necessarily the singles. So that was kind of cool. And it seemed like and the other weird thing with that was, since it was technically not The Cure, he was using his Jazz Master again and shit. So which was a little weird because it was like, okay.
I saw some pictures. Yeah, I was stoked. Like,
since it
not
was
that Schecter shit.
Yeah, since it was technically under a different name, would be the only thing I could think of why he wasn't like, because obviously he's got to deal with them,
contractually.
But, which is still odd, but cool,
I'm thankful that Robert Smith has figured out ways to get out of his contracts for all the monies he's made for all these years. And, like, amazingly, a ton of money.
Which is
but
strange,
it's cool. He gets to play his jazz master in front of people.
Yeah, he's allowed to play
music.
what he
I'm thankful
wants
for that because I love that shit. Like when he busts out his like Fender Bass 6 jazz master shit.
Yeah. So,
fuck yeah. I'm thankful for that.
There you go.
And I just thought it was kind of shitty that, like, I don't know, if I was planning on, like, they announced that The Cure wasn't going to play that. And then I can imagine people being, well, if they're not going to play, I'm not going to go. And then they ended up playing, even though it's not technically The Cure. I still would have been.
Was it a surprise show?
No, because they said he was going to do something. He announced that he was going to do something on stage for like the last night of the Meltdown. It was a Meltdown festival, right?
Yeah.
The one they curated.
Yeah.
He curated it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he announced that he was going to do stuff with friends on stage at the end.
Stuff with friends.
Yeah, I mean, they totally were setting it up like it was gonna be like All-Star Jam. He was just gonna fucking make shit up,
Well, yeah, that's what I thought. I thought he was gonna have members for the bands that he brought in, to play the festival, to come up on stage with him,
and I'll jam with him.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And then all of a sudden he shows up with the entire band, and I'm just like, oh shit, that would suck if you decided not to go because you wanted to see The Cure.
Yeah.
And then they ended up playing. So.
Or maybe even the flip side of you went,
or the other way.
You're like, this is gonna be so weird. Something crazy is gonna happen, and even though it was like a super rad set, and everything sounds great, you can't be disappointed when the actual Cure shows up, I guess. But at the same time, it was maybe kind of lacking in the surprise element. It's just like, oh, okay.
Hence, like the whole Curiosa thing. It's like, are you curious?
Yeah.
Are you disappointed? They should have called it Disappointo.
Yeah. And maybe in the same vein too, next month, July 7th, the Hyde Park 40th anniversary show. Sounded like an amazing set list. It was very singles heavy on that one, so like, a lot of diehard fans were like, how could it not be? And when you really look at the set list, it's like no Cure fan would deny that was like not an amazing set list. But at the same time, I think everybody kind of had some kind of fantasy idea that like all the past members are going to come out and play this or that, and they're going to do something
They were kind of
crazy.
like winking and like...
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, they were definitely
hinting and like playing with it.
Yeah, like
that would have been fucking awesome
just,
if they did that.
Yeah, he's just gonna float up into heaven in the last song and announce it was the end of The Cure or something, But it was just like, nope.
And he'll ascend, and then like Lowell will descend with like a rack of rototoms and some reverb, and like beep boop Like play some fucking
Do
faith
a
shit.
little drum solo to end the whole thing. Yeah, I don't know.
All of them dope.
Andy Anderson pops out and starts playing the walk.
Yeah, everyone's like, what? This is crazy. But
It actually sounds really good. Like I'm really imagining this. That sounds
yeah,
great.
it's
It
easy for
sounds
everyone's
better than anything they
imaginations
probably paid.
to run wild with it. But
Yeah.
but again, you know,
And everyone's like, "Oh, they played Friday. I'm in love."
yeah,
yeah.
it's like all right,
Like-
well, still a really good set list. But yeah, and then on top of that, there wasn't much like tangible stuff from The Cure this year, but there was Mixed Up released on vinyl and
Yeah.
reissued and torn down, which you know we talked
Yeah.
about, but at the same time, I don't know.
That torn down shit. That was. It should have been called Let Down.
Ooh, let that,
Like the.
I've been.
Was that this year?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was in
yeah.
April. I've
Yeah.
been like throwing it on, but it's funny. It's just become more of like a Cure mix for me now. You know, just like when you're just so sick of you're just hearing a different version of some song. You know, or it's like.
Yeah.
So I have enjoyed listening to that a little more than I thought. Just keeping it around. I'm like, oh, it's just a good mix because it's such a good set list. You know, like a track listing anyway.
Do you skip it when it comes on and like shuffle or whatever?
Yeah, probably bounce around, but I don't know.
There's some decent songs on there, but
Yeah, I threw it on. I throw a few on some mixes just for hearing a slightly different version. But yeah, kind of like what we said in the episode, I wouldn't even begin to argue that any were like better than the originals, but it's a chance to do something different. On top of that, that Perfect
Okay.
Dream book, which I haven't got yet, but I'm hoping to get it for Christmas. It looks pretty
yeah, I
rad.
haven't gotten that either.
So put it on some kind of list. I would hope that it just appears because I don't really want to buy it, but it looked pretty cool. I was thumbing through it the other day. So yeah, maybe. Oh, and the other big one that did happen, not a tangible thing, but the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nomination, which is still fucking going. Wow, this has been like a long process. It seems like.
Have we
Like
have
the
we
whole
covered?
That shit blew my mind when I saw that. It's like,
It's like, what are we supposed to like
That's
vote
dope.
every day for like 5 months or something? Though I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
fucking cares. Good God, wrap it up. Put
did
'em
you
in it.
vote?
Yeah, like a billion fucking times. But at this
You
point,
should
I'm
make a.
I'm still like,
You
Jesus,
should
like-
make a. You should make a thing that I voted, but it's like a cure thing,
Yeah.
like a patch or like a pin. And it's like I voted. You know, like the I voted stickers.
you
but,
know,
like,
it's and they seem pretty locked in for the 5th spot, and I think they take the top
it was like
5.
Ted
but then there's
Nugent
some,
and
yeah,
fucking
it's
the
a-
Cure.
Tom
The voting
Rundgren
doesn't.
and-
The voting doesn't really count for anything, does it?
I think it puts them into
stupid.
the next tier. There is some other
Does
hurdle
it?
they have to do afterwards. Yeah, they're not like guaranteed in after this, but
Oh.
I think they're. But I
I
think
thought
the
it was-
top 5 they take to the next, so they're
Oh.
pretty much in the running for whatever the hell happens next. I think, but
I
yeah,
thought that
don't
was
really
just like a way to fans to like jerk each other off or
Yeah, probably. No, I
yeah.
think it's at least those are the qualifying things, and then
Oh.
like a whole people sit around and figure out which albums they can sell more if they pick this
Yeah.
band or that. You know, so I'm sure it's all corrupt.
The Eagles are in there.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
Well, I mean, just the fact that Def Leppard's like totally running away with it is like, it's like, do we really want to win this? I don't. It's
well,
like-
it gave Todd
that's fine.
Rundgren's son an excuse to come and yell at me, so it's all good.
yeah, he got all mad on your
Yeah.
Instagram feed, right? He's like,
Yeah.
come on, man.
That was like the coolest thing that happened in my 2018.
Todd Rundgren's son called you out on some
Yeah, on
meme
on Instagram. No, just I was talking. I posted about the Cure getting trying to get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I kind of said something along the lines of like they should beat out Todd Rundgren, and he got offended and
Of course.
said you don't know enough about Todd Rundgren, and I'm just like it's like okay, all right,
His like his handle is like son of Rundgren.
yeah, it's something like that. It's like Todd Rundgren's son.
That's funny.
Making fun of my dad. But yeah, you know, there's
Did you
room
guys-
for both
like
of them. There's
Kevin-
room for both.
There's like some 6 degrees shit.
yeah.
Did you guys even
guy.
cover that, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing, or is this the first time
Nah.
you're talking about it?
Nah, we talked about it for a second in one, and it got cut out.
Oh, okay.
But it was like in the third hour of the whatever
Let's
episode.
try again.
So, yeah, we'll see if it makes it. But
But it's crazy to see the Cure on that fucking.
yeah, and they
It's
they
like,
were
are
in the
they gonna
running
get
before.
a star on the Walk of Fame? Like Robert Smith, like
Yeah.
putting his hands in some cement, like I made it. I'm like
Yeah.
that's weird. That's weird
Well, they fucking
to see them
deserve
in
it.
that. Like
Man.
I mean,
I hold no value to any of it, so I don't care if they do or they don't. Like I think it's better if they don't because, like, the I don't know. Like
Yeah,
I
I
could
mean,
give
it's-
two fucks about any of that. Like judging wet.
Yeah. I mean, it's more for
Like-
them in the sense of, having another accomplishment on some, for a resume kind of thing, it'd be kind of cool because
Yeah.
they deserve it, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it's
Yeah,
like,
it's like they do deserve like a lot of respect, and I think they get that.
Yeah.
But I don't think they could give two
Yeah, I
fucks
don't know.
about like
He's probably not
like
voting every morning himself for it. Oh,
yeah,
first thing in the morning.
You're to see his high, like he wants to see his high tops, like in a display case at a Hard Rock
Yeah.
in Tokyo.
That's all he wants, man.
You know, like
I'll have the onion rings.
it's the equivalent. Like, who gives a fuck? Like,
Totally.
it's silly. It's fucking dumb.
There's some fans that are taking it really seriously, and then there's some that are like, "This is fucking stupid. They shouldn't even be on the list.
Right.
Like, this is pointless." And I'm kind of in the middle, where it would be kind of the coolest thing about it would be if they got inducted, they would play Madison Square Garden with the other inductees, and I would try like hell to get in there to watch that set.
Fuck yeah.
But that would be like the only cool thing I would get out of it, other than actually going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to look at the stuff that they had in there. But I mean,
Right.
there's some
Is like the absurdity of it?
yeah, but there's some good acts that are on the list with them that I'm like, the MC5s. I can't believe they're not in there already.
Yeah, they're like dead last, right?
I
Like,
know.
nobody's even. Yeah, it was
And,
weird. Like Kraftwerk was in it.
Yeah.
It was on there.
MC5 is the jam.
right.
Like,
Rage Against the Machine's
I
not in
fucking-
there, which kind of, I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about them, but I'm just like, I can't believe they're not in the
Yeah,
Rock and
I
Roll
mean,
Hall
it's
of
all-
Fame. Devo.
And even, Diva.
like Devo fucks me up on that. It's just like I that's why I stopped caring about it, because like Devo and The Cure, like there's no contest to be had. Like, they're both beautiful and great. Like I'm not ranking, because Devo's the jam. Like, Devo's one of my favorite bands. Like, pitting them against like each other in some contest, like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give a fuck about it. All that's dumb. Like, they've already made their impact, and if you can't see it,
Yeah,
you're
then,
fucking blind. And if you need like a fucking lottery to gauge who's cool, like, you're
Yeah.
fucking dumb.
Yeah, like I could see Robert getting like being not really caring, but at the same time being held up there with, his idols of like Jimi Hendrix.
The
Yeah,
greats.
like Jimi Hendrix and like David Bowie. Like,
Right.
I think that it would, on some level, it would matter to him. But as far as
Validation from what?
for fan wise,
From who?
I don't know. Like, people that picked on you.
I think they already have
people that picked on you in
Like,
high
they
school
don't
for
need-
liking certain music. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I could see it as some sort of validation if you're hung up on it, but I mean, to me, it doesn't really.
if you're hung
yeah,
up
to
on
me,
it,
it doesn't
right.
really matter. To me, it would matter more how Robert and the rest of the band would feel about it. Like, if they were like, this would mean the world to me, and like being on, being recognized by the music industry in the fans, I could if they came out and said something like that, this is a big deal to us. I probably would have voted every day. But
Yeah.
I mean,
I see.
I voted like maybe like 10 times, and I was like, this is fucking stupid. Like,
Yeah.
like you have people there like voting probably like, like the amount of votes that some of these people got, like Def Leppard. I'm just like,
Yeah, it would
like-
literally have to be like every day. People are just waking up.
Yeah.
First
Gotta
thing
vote for
to
Def
do.
Leppard. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, good God. Well, moving on from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I guess as far as cureness and what might happen in 2019 then, so we got these festivals popping up. As of now, this is being recorded in the beginning of December and will come out around Christmas Eve. But as of now, no U.S. dates have been
It's fucking
announced.
bullshit.
A whole ton, yeah. It's really weird, and I even nerded out one night and tried to like look up all the big name U.S. festivals and see what's even like mathematically possible still.
Yeah, it did
Like,
the same thing.
Most of them aren't even like possible because
Nope.
they take place during like June and July, which is pretty much entirely booked up now in Europe and elsewhere. And yeah, it looks like maybe Coachella's still technically in the running because that's like late April. They don't have anything in late April, but just heaps of all over the world festival shows, which is cool because they're hitting
Festival's
some weird spot.
done,
But
man.
yeah,
It's
ugh.
Yeah.
If I was in a big band, man, I'd be like, no. And if you look at I look at festival shit. I've been to a handful, like low key ones, and they were like borderline whack, even when they were kind of cool.
Yeah.
But like, who goes to big
Fucking billion
Every-
people.
fucking festivals?
Yeah,
suck.
apparently
A
every
ton of people. Like
But,
they make so.
That's why they
They
exist.
make
Yeah.
so much
But they're
money.
shitty. Like, who would go to that?
yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're like a band like them, you're making so much money off of going to
Yeah.
playing a festival, and it's most likely going to be a shorter time than what you would
Like
regularly
a
play.
one and done. Like,
So-
Yeah, you get
like a
the
little snipe.
Yeah,
you
like
cover an entire country with
sniping
one
that
show.
money, that
yeah.
Coachella money.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it makes sense,
I don't
especially for an
blame
older
bands.
band. Yeah, you're just gonna.
Yeah, I don't blame them for playing it. I blame the people for going, but
But,
I don't.
I definitely wouldn't want to stand outside for 12 hours just waiting for one band to come
Yeah.
on in the fucking summer heat. I'm good.
And you just have to piss all the
Oh
time.
my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's nowhere to piss, and you're just like you have to piss all the time, and you're like shitty and dirty and dusty and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Not my thing.
So,
no. And as a band, who wants to play to a bunch of uncomfortable people?
but they're not. It's all like young people that are excited to be there for the most part.
All the drugs.
We're old
A
and
bunch of
jaded.
geezers like us. Yeah, I'm like, fuck that. I'm not standing for 10 hours. Like, these kids are all whacked out on drugs and having the time of their life, So, like, this is fucking
Not me.
awesome.
Fuck you.
So I was like, I could just get fucked up and stay at home, and it's the same thing. But,
Yeah,
So-
I did the math. I tried to do the math too, and it doesn't look like it's gonna be possible unless they.
yeah, I mean, I guess they could just do like a one-off somewhere. I mean, and I guess there's so many like festivals that just pop up, or this is like the first year of whatever new festival,
Yeah.
where there's just a billion of them. So I mean, it's still possible, but
Unless they're
I don't
playing
know,
at
it's
something.
We should really do a fucking live podcast where we all go to a festival together.
yeah,
like
I'm
a
already
Cure one.
was thinking of it. If they announce
Oh.
like a U.S. one, I'm like, I probably was gonna at least try to go to one of them, like
That'd
but-
be funny as
So,
fuck.
yeah.
Cut this out. This is some podcast idea shit.
Yeah, no, that's
That'd be funny as fuck if all three of us went to like a fucking festival.
yeah. We're going to Coachella.
I'd be the only sober one between you guys, and I'd be just like, I'd have to have a leash for both of you guys and like pulling you around.
Can,
I remember the one Coachella I went to ages ago where
Regular
they did
kittens.
play. I couldn't even drink at it though because you're hanging out in the fucking desert, and it's
Oh,
like
God.
I'm not gonna drink a beer. I was drinking like gallons of water, and I never had to piss because it was like so
Just
hot.
coming
And
out
I
of
was
your
just so
pores.
yeah, I was just
because
like
you're almost
dehydrated.
dying all the time.
I was like beer wasn't even like in my mindset. I was like, it's like I'm in a fucking desert, man. I don't want to drink beer right now.
I'm gonna die.
Like Jesus.
Oh,
But,
I am hoping for something
sounds-
the second half of the year.
yeah.
Well,
maybe,
not even
yeah,
the second half. It would be like in the fall, in the winter.
Yeah,
but,
because
you
like
know.
Riot Fest is like September, and they don't have anything in that.
Yeah,
and,
I'm so pissed I didn't go to the last one that they played in Chicago.
Yeah,
I don't know why I didn't. I just was like, I have so many friends out there, and it's not that long of a drive where
Yeah.
I could have gone, and I just didn't.
That'd be
So,
cool. Hopefully they'll pull something out like that, but who knows? Yeah.
Yeah.
And, so yeah, maybe along those lines of empty promises, there were a couple things that didn't quite get delivered this year too. No word on the new album, but that's the kind of thing that you probably wouldn't hear about until it just pops up and is ready. You know, so
Gonna Beyonce that shit.
Yeah, so maybe they are polishing it up as we speak. So
He's gonna
who
drop
knows,
it and not tell anybody, and nobody's gonna know for like 4 months.
Right,
It's
it's
just
gonna
gonna
be
be
under curation.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be the whole new.
Oh.
It's like what? It's like a whole different name. But and the Tim Pope doc we haven't heard any more about, but kind of got that vibe somewhere along the line. He tweeted, "It was like, don't expect this to come out this year." I'm like, no, okay, I guess that would make sense if it did, but whatever. So hopefully it's still in the works, and the Wish reissue, of course, which shouldn't be a surprise that didn't come out, but just because of the mixed up one seemed to have some kind of momentum of, you know,
Yeah.
and I think when they put out the last few reissues, they were kind of in clusters, right? If I remember correctly, where they put out like maybe 3 of them in a row kind of deal. So it's like, oh, here they come. And
Is-
like, no.
Is Wish on a different? It's not on a different label, is it?
No, yeah, that's what I was even thinking, something like that at one point, like it was some weird kind
Yeah.
of label thing. But no, yeah, I don't know what the hell the hang up would be.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
so
know
weird.
either. It's they did like the first. What was it? The first 5 albums,
Yeah.
and did
I
all
remember
those.
kind of being like, man, I gotta buy all these at the same time.
Yeah.
It's
And then
I
they
feel
kinda-
like
and then they-
$200.
And then they kind of did Head on the Door here and there. And they did the Kiss Me reissue, and then Disintegration, and then they just kind of stopped. But no,
Yeah.
because they did
I wonder why.
they did the entry
Because everything sucked balls.
they
Saw
did the
that.
entry reissue
Uh-huh.
the 1 year, and then they did the mixed up reissue. So now it's like everybody's just been waiting
depressed
forever now.
Time. Yeah.
They're gonna start reissuing B-sides,
Yeah,
like all these good
Yeah.
songs.
they're gonna go back and do the concert reissue, and
Yeah. It's like, oh, God, just put it out.
yeah. That's
But,
the one record that it seems like everybody's just been waiting for, because they don't want
Yeah.
to pay the price of how much it is to get it.
Right,
And then
right. Yeah, and vinyl. For
Yeah.
sure.
They've done so well with the other reissues that they're just, I don't blame them. Like
Yeah, and the actual album, I mean, just sold CD wise so
Yeah.
good. I mean, it's not like it's Wild Mood Swings where they're just kind of torn on, like, well, some people hated
Yeah.
it. Would anybody even care? And it's like they still got their biggest fucking album pretty much.
Yeah.
It's like,
the biggest fuck you
Anyway.
is if they skipped over Wish and did a Wild Mood Swings reissue.
That'd be fun. Like what?
That would be amazing. I would applaud that.
Yeah.
They do a good amount of stuff on Black Friday. So not Black Friday, Record Store Day.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping for them to drop something about drop some news about a month before Record Store Day, which I think is in April.
Yeah.
So hopefully around
Yeah,
March,
that'd be
late
cool.
February, we'll learn something. So,
Yeah.
but who knows?
But well, I guess shifting from the Cure to ourselves more. It was another strong year. Hopefully, I don't know. We had some ups, some downs. We made it through 26 episodes, like we said. I don't know, numbers
lot.
wise, thanks to Chaz. I credit all for Chaz. We did have some big numbers on Wish and Disintegration. Just a funny background for listeners that don't know, our main hosting is Podcast Garden, and I don't mind throwing them under the bus because they're pretty much the worst hosting site you could do. It's super cheap, and
I didn't even know what you're talking about. and I love
yeah,
it.
well, it's ridiculous because all our episodes don't even play on iTunes. They somewhere hit a wall, and like up to about 70 episode 70 won't play on iTunes now. But you can play them on their website on Podcast Garden. So if anyone's confused that does want to go back on that, hit me up. But it's really annoying, and I was
Just Google it and you'll find it. Jesus.
well, not really actually.
Right?
It's
Isn't that how the internet
it's some
works?
dark
Kinda.
web shit.
Yeah, so it's annoying, and they only keep track of downloads in 2-week periods. So, like, after 2 weeks, we have no clue how many people have listened to the show, which is good, because if I thought any significant amount of people actually listened to this, I would just, be a mess and wouldn't be able to speak worse than I do.
What was our highest number, Gav? What was our highest
Around
number?
Wish, I remember checking in, and it was in 2-week block. It got up to 800 downloads, and then, like, 2 weeks after it rebooted, it was another 400 in a
Oh
week.
my god!
So so that was pretty
1,200
rad.
people
And then
downloaded that episode.
So
Holy shit!
I have no idea.
That
I
shit's
mean,
crazy.
they might have only listened to the first 10 minutes. I don't know, but that's the only info we had on it. And then it just reboots and like clears it out. But like every time I go back and check on it, it's like about 100 or so for each one. And so I mean that's on top
So
of whatever
dope.
it was.
So dope.
Yeah, so I think it's a good momentum thing, and who knows, but at the same time it's kind of funny that Podcast Garden doesn't tell you or keep track of anything. And I actually got their support thing when it started in May. I was like, why aren't those old episodes playing? What's going on? They're like, oh, we had this crash and this and that, and so that went all the way till October. And here's their direct quote when I was like, so what's the status on the old episodes? They say, Gavin, we did get the archives on the website playing. That means you can play them on Podcast Garden's website. It says they are still working on getting the archives open again for third-party players, meaning like iTunes and stuff. They have not given this top priority because most podcast subscribers are mostly interested in current podcast episodes. Meaning subscribers only listen to the new ones. But it's like, yeah, but if they're I have heard all the other ones. I mean, anytime, I don't know, maybe I'm a loner. If I find a new podcast, I'll go back to the start and listen to the old shit and work my way up to it. But it's no, most people just like the most 2 current episodes, and that's it.
No, they don't.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell?
Hey, we're a podcast company.
It's that's still no reason
no,
to
they don't.
not have them available, Or it's I'm paying these fucking people. Why the hell can't they be available? So I don't know. I'd love to just switch it all, and I probably will once we stop or take a pause or something. I can redo it, but it'll wipe out everything if I re-upload it, every episode to a different hosting site. So.
Fuck them.
So yeah, it's a little bit of a drag, but I'm kind of under their mercy at the moment.
We're gonna put out our podcast. It's gonna be. I'm gonna fucking start mailing motherfuckers
DVDs,
burnt discs.
Yeah, CD.
Burnt discs. Fucking.
That's what you do now anyway. To
podcast,
send me your track, you put it on a CD.
That's what I do.
But yeah, maybe we'll do it old
That's how I
fashioned.
put out music, man. There's some purity in that shit.
But yeah, so if any of that made sense to any listeners that are more tech savvy out there and have a solution, definitely let us know. But it's sort of what we've been dealing with this year, so apologies for that to anybody out there that hasn't been able to hear the old episodes. But they are sort of out there. So
I've had people message me asking me if they can listen to old episodes. So you're not
there
going
is
crazy.
a link.
No way.
Yeah, shit.
No.
Yeah, I hate that. It's you have to tell them. But there is a link if you go to their
send me the
podcast.
link so I know. So if anybody else asks, I can tell them.
It's basically, it is a good search on podcastgarden.com. If you just punch in the holy hour, it'll pop up on that. But yeah, I do have a link. So we'll post that in the feed.
And I have a Laserdisc version of
Donald
the podcast. I'll
strips
be
every
mailing out
episode
in,
to vinyl. So.
The Trolla.
Recycled
Each episode is 6 vinyls.
packaging.
6 vinyl collection. But yeah, so we covered Disintegration to Blood Flowers. Crazy that it's only 4 albums. We sure filled in the gaps, I guess, with a lot of bullshit. But I felt like it's good to keep it rolling. And yeah, I really love the album one still, because it's as many times as we listen to these albums, I still feel like I get a little something different out of it listening to it for this, and with those kind of ears, and so it's pretty cool.
New ears are dope.
Yeah,
I'll say that even before I hopped on the podcast, when you guys would cover an album, I would go, and I hope other listeners are doing it too, just going back and diving into that album to the point where it's on repeat, and I'm listening to it as loud and as close to my ears as I can get it, and trying to take in everything, especially with the layering. Before I started listening to you guys, I didn't realize how much layering was going on in so many of the albums.
Yeah.
And it just kind of blew me away, like just hearing you guys talk about it and then just being a part of it. Like now, you know, I spent hours listening to Wish, and which isn't any, you know, really isn't different, but then I spent hours listening to Wild Mood Swings and Blood Flowers, and it definitely changes your perspective on the albums. And now I'm trying to dive into the self-titled, which is,
me too. I did the first 2 listens.
oh god.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's laboring.
It'll be interesting. Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's been cool, and we've reached out with the phone calls have been good, and like if we haven't, you know, letting that and getting other listeners even in on that too this year in particular has been more like actual recorded long distance ones that hopefully haven't sounded too dialed in, but at the same time in one way or another. But like those have been some of my favorite ones. Like we got one we're just about to post, and like the one with Bella and stuff of just people that I've never even talked to, and then we're recording the episode. That's kind of fun and cool that we're getting that to work, and piecing it together is pretty rad. So
yeah, I'd like to hear more of that in like 2019. Just like more people's perspective on not just like one album, but just like why they love The Cure, and like I think I always find that interesting. You know, so but yeah, Bella's episode was definitely one of my favorites, just because I'm a reader, but like some of the stuff that you guys covered was like way too heavy for me to even get to.
Yeah,
I'm just like holy fuck, this is over my head.
Shit.
So I was just like, it was good to have somebody like that actually understood it and break it down,
right?
So I actually understand it a little bit better.
I learned so much from this shit.
Yeah, and I love the cover episodes that you do.
Cool. We're slowly piecing a new one together for that, so that'll be cool. And just everybody that's contributed in even an email or a comment here and there. And I think more people are starting to just get the idea that you can record just a little 5-minute thing and send it in. It's pretty, do whatever. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, just like a little quickie thought. You know, it's so easy in this day and age. And because I mean that was ultimately my main idea from the start, was that we wouldn't even be doing the show. It would just be like the occasional us talking about an album or something, but then it would just be like Cure fans talking to their own friends out there, you know, and just recording their own and then just sending it to me, and I could just kind of like, you know, wrangle it all together for them and stuff. You know, so that would be cool if anybody is out there and wants to just talk to their friend. You know, they don't have to talk to us or anything like that. You know, just record your buddies talking about Cure shit and send it to us. We can always just piece it together for you and have a platform for people just to put it out. Would be cool. You know?
I was gonna ask you that. Like, if I wanted to record somebody to interview somebody, could I just do that and just have them like the same way that you do it? Like, just have them send the audio to me and I'll send it to you.
Yeah, any way that works. That would be cool if you do it that way, and you send the 2 tracks, or if you're in the same room or whatever and record it, you know, just as one track, you know, that'd be super easy. But yeah, I can mix it together if you do the 2 phone call kind of thing.
Awesome.
Anything like that. Yeah, so that'd be cool. Yeah, I was going to ask you guys and anybody out there too, if you just have any friends that you want to talk to, because I love those conversation ones like we were talking about, especially with like even like the fresh ears kind of ones, you know, like I did a few of those this year with like friends that weren't particularly even big Cure fans or Cure fans at all even, you know, and I just got them to listen to some stuff, and it's kind of cool to hear like people that aren't like obsessed with them, or, you know, or just kind of have like, I don't know, I don't see what the big deal about this band is, but it's a good album kind of feeling, you know, and it's brings it back down to earth a bit. So I love that stuff. And
get involved.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, so anybody out there, definitely hit us up for sure. But anyway, moving on from all that business, though, maybe we should talk about goals for 2019 then. Upcoming episodes. I did have a few. We said we have 2 main albums left, 2 actual studio albums. But we talked about how when those are complete, we want to do the revisionist, at least in parts, maybe 2 or 3 episodes of those, of what we would change. Because those first few albums, I feel, we're not going to change much, but it'd be fun to toss some ideas around. All of them kind of with the idea of like, of course, the Cure is the Cure. They did it right. But, you know, it would be fun to just kind of think of different ways they could have done things on the albums, and maybe these later albums it holds a little more weight. So it's some revisionist episodes. What else do we have? I kind of want to do a caterpillar one, totally contradicting myself of not doing the song ones again, but a caterpillar one would be cool. But then we were thinking it would be cool when we run out of albums to do full episodes on just member profiles,
Yes.
where we just do a whole episode on one member from the
How
Cure
they ended
throughout
up
their
in
whole
that
career,
mix.
and it'd be fun just to do a
Yeah.
just hearing like maybe try to research if they've done other stuff and what kind of snippets we can dig up from other projects they've worked on and stuff, and be kind of cool. Hard to say if we could really do a full hour on like Michael Dempsey or something. But,
Fool's Dance.
Yeah,
Make
will
some,
be another
Cure
good
baseball
episode.
cards.
So I think there's ways to make it work.
Because we'll be reviewing
Yeah.
their stats,
I don't
kind
know.
of like going through like a member by member,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, and it'd be a good way to talk with Chaz if you're down with the idea of doing those with us still at that
Yeah,
point.
absolutely.
Of,
I'm down
doing
for
some of the
anything.
older albums again, like if
Yeah.
we're talking about early Lowell and stuff, we could talk about
Absolutely.
those albums a little bit more together, and that would be cool.
fuck yeah.
We like the idea. There was one of doing like your most cherished artifact, Cure artifact, like in a way that what is your prized possession, and hopefully people would contribute with that.
Yeah, I would love
kinda-
to hear what other people have. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
Instagram's cool because you get to see a lot of that stuff. But
Yeah.
like, I like the idea of people actually talking about it other than just showing it off. Like,
Yeah, it'd be
like,
tough because you
yeah.
would maybe be talking about a button or something, it's a very visual thing, but yeah, I'm sure Donald would have a lot to contribute.
It's all dick pics.
But along those lines of reaching out to people listening too, definitely we would love some weird, because I love the ones that are kind of not like based on anything, chronological or anything of the band. It'd be great just to have more ideas. Some of the best
Yeah.
ones, even like that the Bella Lit one came from her. That
That was a
cool
dope
idea.
one,
And,
man.
like,
Bella's slayed.
your T-shirt one was cool because it wasn't like
That's
a
really
one that
interesting.
fit, just
Yeah.
kind of a cool. But yeah, on top of that, I'm still just amazed that there aren't other Cure podcasts or even many other band podcasts out there. It's crazy when you see how few
yeah,
just like Dishwalla podcasts there are, or Soul Asylum
Soul
or
Asylum.
anything like that. Yeah, there really aren't many just bands ones out there. So we have one in town. It's really weird. A quick shout out to fellow Asheville, and we kind of know them from back in the old music days, but they have an Echo and the Bunnymen podcast. They just started up, and they're like
Oh, that's
5
rad.
episodes in. Yeah, and it's really good.
Who does that?
And,
Who does the
yeah,
Echo
we-
in the
send me the link to that.
Bunnyman podcast?
Yeah,
That's so
well,
dope.
Yeah, it's awesome, and
love that shit.
they seem to be doing really well with it so far. And it's just weird that they happen to be in Asheville. And
I think we should do an episode just where we come up with different names for different podcasts of
Yeah.
different bands. So,
totally,
like, I'm
We might have to do that
I'd
one
be
on
down
the
with
side,
that.
Chaz.
side project.
Gavin's gonna make notes.
Cool. Yeah, I'm jotting all this down, man. Like running out of albums, man. We got come up with something.
we got to keep this gravy train moving. Come on.
I know. Making so much money from this.
But speaking of plans too, we got if the schedule fits still, by March 4th will be our 100th episode, and I'm not quite sure how we should celebrate that.
That's an
yet,
all-together one.
but
100th one,
it's
all-together
gonna
one.
happen. We're technically only 5 away.
How
So,
about we just
yeah.
have like a 50-way phone call of like everybody
everybody that's ever-
everybody that wants to call in at once.
Yeah.
Like everyone
Totally.
that's ever participated has to like all call
It's
in.
just a bunch of fucking noise.
Yeah, and then or it could be like, the way the Cure was hyping their 40th anniversary show, and then it ends up just being the 3 of us still. We're like, it's gonna be crazy.
We should try to get somebody for the band, like that. Even that the only was
Yeah.
on the band for like just like even like one record or something like that, or like
Maybe, yeah.
we'll get Andy Anderson and just like
Yeah. Like, come on, man.
Come on, man.
Just
Let's
talk
talk.
to us for a minute. It's our 100th episode.
that would be
It's a
so
big
awesome.
deal. But further proving the wide, like, uncontrollable success of this podcast, we threw it out on Instagram. What would you like to say for our end of the year wrap up? And we got 3 comments, one of which was Chaz.
It stinks.
So I promised to read it. It stinks. And Christopher Moon wrote, "It's so stinky." So followed up. And then we got a comment from Scott, which was a nice positive. Said, "You sound like a down-to-earth everyman. Easy to listen to with genuine enthusiasm for the subject matter. I really enjoy the album breakdowns and the occasional interviews. I also can't help but laugh at with..." Definitely at Donald's bong hits. So, there you go. And his constructive criticism was great, that sometimes the audio sucks at Gibby's body and it goes up and down, and yep, that's all on me. So
That's my fault.
no, that's totally me.
That's the most honest
So,
fucking review.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. That was
Because
right
I
on.
giggle
And,
every time
and-
I mic my bong hits, and they make me giggle. Oh, and someone
totally.
paid attention to the fucking dumb joke, the dumbest fucking joke.
A nice side comment too of stoner looking guy, pictures from Christopher Moon. He wrote and said, like, "I don't know what you guys look like, but I bet it's like this." And it's looks like some kind of SNL sketch of maybe Jimmy Fallon and some other guy wearing a Baja and they're high playing
I
bongo
used to
drums.
But
I think we got a reputation.
Before I grew
going
my
here,
beard,
but-
everyone was like, "You look like Jimmy Fallon."
Yeah, so I think he's onto something
that
there.
dude's what's
So,
up, man. That guy's fuck yeah,
but he said,
dude.
"Keep up the good work. Love the podcast."
It's hilarious.
So thank you. And, yeah. Aside from that, I don't know. I'll assume no news is good news, and we're doing great. So, but what about you, Chaz? You got any life goals for 2019?
World domination of the T-shirt game, but other than that,
Yeah.
I can't.
Fonts.
go.
I don't know. Like, I'm not really big into the whole like New Year's resolution stuff.
Yeah,
but,
me neither.
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I'm going to therapy a lot, and I'm trying to
Yeah.
improve myself, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job with some stuff. So
Be a better
I'm just going to
boy.
continue on that, and just try to enjoy life as much as I can. So, and
Yeah.
we'll all try to meet up next year at some point.
Fuck yeah, man.
That's good. Yeah, that would be a good goal. We gotta
That's
cross paths, whether
Yeah.
we're recorded or not. We gotta
a
actually
dope
just hang out.
goal.
Will be awesome. So I'm down with that. Well, what about the other music industry folks out there? What did they do this year? Any albums you guys love and recommend for the non-Cure side of things?
I made a list. Donna, did you make a list?
Yeah.
I did. No, I didn't. I lied. There's no bands that I don't think that put records out this year. There's the band.
All the jazz artists.
Only jazz. Yeah. What are the jazz kids listening
Yeah,
to?
what's going on in the jazz scene?
The jazz.
I think this band put a record out. This year they're Mets with a Z. It's like METZ. Mets. They put a record out this year that kind of slay. It's really hard and really fast, and it's like some early '80s kind of vocals, like early '80s like punk bands kind of vocals, like Johnny Rodney kind of shit.
Strange Peace was that the name of the album?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they came out last year.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
That record,
Yeah.
that
Oh,
record
wow.
made me want to be
Day late, dollar short.
fucking like a tight 3-piece. Like they're a 3-piece band, man, and they rip ass. Like they're so good. Mets with the Z, and
Yeah, they're on Sub Pop.
yeah,
Ah,
they're
Yeah.
from Canada.
cool. I've not
But
heard them. I'll
they
check
fucking
it out.
rip it up good, and That's I guess the only band I thought that was came out this year, but it was last year.
What about you, Chaz? You got some new bands?
Yeah. Well, first off, I've been really into female vocals lately. I don't know why,
Oh, shit.
but like,
Yeah, me too.
yeah, I don't know.
Are we
so
talking
there's a
about
band
Kate
from
Bush?
No, we're not going
This
to
year.
No, this year.
Kate Bush.
Yeah. So there's this band from Australia that I really like called Camp Cope. And they put out a record a couple years ago that was like my favorite of the year, and now they have a new record out called How to Socialize and Make Friends.
That's a good name.
that I've been really enjoying. There's this band from Boston called Fiddlehead that I really like. Springtime and Blind is the name of their new album. That was one of my favorites. Another female fronted band, Snail Mail, and the album Lush.
Yeah.
My friend Brandon's band put out an EP, and they're like a shoegazy band. Their name is Time,
Hell yeah.
and
That's
the
a good band
album
name,
is
Time? Damn,
yeah,
that's good.
yeah.
Ooh.
On the more hard front, this band Tragedy that I've been a fan of for years now, they put out an album called Fury. It's 6 songs and 17 minutes, so
Fuck yeah.
it's pretty fast and hard. And then my favorite album of the year is this band called Drug Church, and their album Cheer. And I think they did a great job with combining like hardcore and like probably like Nirvana, early Nirvana punk mixed with like shoegaze. It's really weird, and like it's some really good bass going on in that record. And
Cool.
and like the guy, the lead singer, he's one of my favorite lyricists that I've come across. He's been in another band called End of a Year, and or Self Defense Family. They changed their name twice, but he's definitely one of my favorite vocalists and favorite lyricists. So this album, like,
Tight ass band.
definitely been,
Like,
yeah, it's been on my repeat for weeks now. So I've listened to it probably about 10 times in the past 2 days.
I
So.
listened to it once, but
yeah.
I agree with everything you say.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
that band is tight though. Like the drummer and
Yeah.
bass and like guitar dudes, like they get down,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, I'm big fan. So
Yeah.
so those are the albums that I've been into this year. It's kind of all over the place, so which is cool because that's just kind of how I roll. But yeah.
Yeah.
So what about you?
Awesome. Yeah, kind of what you were saying earlier, where like I make a playlist every year of like just songs,
Yeah.
like my favorites of the year. And it was like crazy how many like one-off songs I love from bands this year, but I didn't really wasn't crazy about the full album. So there's tons of just like songs, and but I mean the first like full album one was and I think it's kind of a cheat because maybe like on a smaller label they put out like 3 or 4 songs that they had recorded and then got picked up by a better label and re-recorded them. But I think the album officially came out this year was Middle Kids.
Oh yeah.
It's an Australian band.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's like just like I hadn't heard an album in so long where it was like I listened to it once and then I was like doing something else. And I had like the hooks and the melody stuck in my head, and I was like, like singing along. I was like, "Holy shit! Did I already remember that fucking melody?" I was like, "Man, that's so catchy," and I just love it. And I just, by default, I always have a soft spot for the Aussies, but it's just like crazy how many times I will hear a band and I really like it, and then I find out that they're Australian, and I'm like, oh,
Like
shit,
every
that makes
time,
total
every
sense,
time.
That's yeah, it's
Like the first time you
almost
listen to
like-
Midnight Oil, that's how you got into it.
Yeah, pretty much. It was all too much men at work as a kid, I guess, or something. But
Did you post about that band earlier this year or something?
probably,
Yeah,
I
Midnight
kind of
Oil,
freaked out
or-
for them really hard, and I've still
No,
been,
no,
middle kids.
Yeah.
But I'm always posting about Midnight Oil. So that's my other podcast. Podcast burning my Midnight Oil.
My Midnight Oil.
Podcast.
the all Midnight Oil podcast.
It's good. We have a big Aborigine following. But Courtney Barnett's, of course, I love that one, and she's got a dude that's on her label. It's like a songwritery guy, Fraser A. Gorman. I've been digging his. So those guys, but yeah, more just singles. I don't know. Maybe I'm falling for the singles age or something, but it seems like albums aren't pulling their weight. I don't know.
So, but there's still like the thing with music today is like it's so accessible.
Yeah.
And people are actually making art where you wouldn't have been able to, 10, 15, 20 years ago. So, which, sometimes a lot of the times it sucks, but every once in a while you'll come across something that'll blow your mind. That's like something that's coming out today. So I think it's cool.
Yeah.
But I also understand it dilutes the market. So, but
yeah,
it is.
And a lot of these services, like I got hooked up into the iTunes thing. Somebody just added me to their plan where you can listen to anything on iTunes.
Yeah.
And it's kind of that idea that you're like, I can listen to anything, and then I'm like, and I'm just like, I guess I'll just put this on.
I don't want to listen to anything.
Or, I just end up listening to some shit I've listened to a million times, it's like too many choices or something, or just like, on the right day you go down some rabbit holes and find cool shit, and they were pretty cool about like the recommendations, but
part of me is, as I'm getting older, like part of me is like I just want to listen to, what I'm used to, but then part of me is like there's shit out there, and like I think part of the so what's so great about it is just the find and just like the hunt and like the hunt was like
yourself.
It's part of it, but like even like I'm thinking about like when I was like 16 or 15 or 14 and I was just getting into like alternative music and stuff like that, and like actually having to go out of my way to find it and like having to search for it because it wasn't accessible. Well, now it's even more accessible now, but you have to wade through a bunch of the bullshit.
And there's so much more.
It's almost like back to how it was.
It's like finding a needle in a stack of needles, and like you're just looking for one specific one. So it's a different type of hunt than it was when none of this stuff was available.
Dude.
So I think
and even like that Aussie guy I mentioned, it was kind of that old style of where I just liked Courtney Barnett and I looked at her label, and then I saw that he was on the label too.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? It was
it's like looking at it's like looking at liner notes and seeing who they thank. And you're like, look at that band. I got to look up that band, or
you see their video and he's like playing bass for them or something. And they're just like, who's this fucking guy?
Yeah, or he's wearing a T-shirt of a band, and like that happened. That happened to me with like the Nirvana "It Smells Like Teen Spirit" video, where the guy's wearing a Bad Brain shirt.
Fuck yeah.
I'm just like, I'm like, oh yeah, what is that? Why is he in the video? I got to find out what that is. Or you see a show flyer with different bands on it, with like one that you like. And you're like, well, if the band I like is cool enough to play with them, totally, I want to see what they sound like. So it's a new age, and there's different ways to go about with the whole searching for new music, and it's a brave new world.
The future is now.
Yeah, absolutely. The hunt's still there.
So on that note, we'll say a great big thank you to everyone that's even thought about listening to this damn show and contributed or even just chimed in on the Facebook page or Instagram and anything like that. But more importantly, thank you, Donald and Chaz, for being willing to keep this thing rolling.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Into a whole nother season. So here we come. That episode 100's right around the corner, guys, and we'll see y'all out there. So for now, I'll just say, talk hard.
Bad boys back at the end.
Oh! What? Oh no, he's back now? Uh-oh, we better go. All right. Click. All right, there you have it, the final episode of 2019. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday season and a smooth start to the new year. We're planning to pick it right up again in 2 weeks, but if there is a 3-week gap, it's because I didn't get back home in time doing some traveling. But we'll do our best to make sure we get back on track in 2019 and have tons of new episodes for you. Since recording this, it's official. The Cure have been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They pulled it off. And now that they're officially in, I can be more excited for them. You know, I'll be a hypocrite. I was all like, fuck them if I thought they weren't going to make it in. But now that they're in, this is awesome. So congratulations to The Cure, every member that's ever had anything to do with the band, no matter who they pick to be the actual Cure that's inducted. And pretty big news. Chaz and I are already plotting how we can see this ceremony maybe in March up in Madison Square Garden. So it might be the only chance to see them in the U.S. this year. Who knows? Or not. In true Cure fashion, they're cramming all their big news into the last month of the year. And we got a couple sound clips of Roger doing an interview, a Skype interview this morning on getting inducted in. And Victor, a listener, sent me a cool clip. I just got on the computer here of from something on Sirius FM, probably a Robert Smith interview where he was talking about Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but more importantly was that he was in the studio at that moment recording and editing the Hyde Park show. It sounded like for a film with Tim Pope. So I don't know if that's something they're just going to use in the documentary that he's making, or just a whole concert footage in itself. So either way, that's pretty rad and big news. And both of them basically confirmed that they're recording a new album. In a sense, it definitely sounded more official from Robert's. I don't know, both of them sound pretty official. But Chaz did bring to my attention when we were texting about it of if they're recording it in February, like just starting to, that's going to be a pretty tight recording schedule. But from the Robert clip, it sounded a little bit more like putting finishing touches on it in February. So yeah, maybe they'll have a whole new album wrapped up next year. And Roger pretty much flat out said they're hoping to tour U.S. and come back in the autumn. So maybe this one induction ceremony thing won't be the only shot for the year, and there'll be more of a full-on tour come autumn. So maybe that's why they're kind of laying off doing any American festivals. Who knows? So much on the horizon, so much to look forward to now. Whew, got excited. If only we had known this when we all talked to earlier. Anyway, for now, let's wrap this fucking year up. So thanks so much to everybody out there that's listened. Thanks again to Donald and Chaz and everybody that's contributed for the whole life of this podcast. And thanks to the Cure out there for being the best band ever. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes so you don't miss a single episode. And follow us on Instagram, the Holy Hour Podcast, and the Facebook page. And you can feel free to drop me a line at any of those outlets or at gavinconner@gmail.com. And as we said at the top of this episode, big news coming from Chaz. 30 years of disintegration. So keep your eyes peeled on 17secondsshirts.bigcartel.com and his Instagram 17_seconds for a chance to get some awesome Disintegration 30th anniversary merch. So we hope to see you then. Until next time, Happy New